Welcome, everyone, to the MMA Happy Hour podcast. I am Kyle Anthony, your host, where today we are talking UFC Macau, where we have Peter Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. We're going to be breaking down 4 plays here on the show today. Now, last weekend, I was at UFC 309, a fantastic event, a lot of fun being there. But early on, we did not hit our plays. We were missing on some of these client plays. Thank God the 5% max bet comes through, cashes us in. That's now 13-1 on max bets in 2024, which is pretty fantastic overall. 8 into the profit, losing those ones and unit plays and 1.5 I think I had out there. Kind of annoyed, thought Jonathan Martinez got that victory. I really thought he earned that decision victory. But with that being said, we're still up 70 units on the year, 3 events left, and got to finish strong. So if you want to become a client, link down in the description. I do have a pack up for this weekend. I'm probably going to have a little bit smaller of a card for clients this week just because I'm not that big on this card. I don't really like this card that much from a betting perspective. There's a couple shots here that I really do like. Do have a 4% play that I love, and that's actually already in for clients. But we'll have a couple other plays. But again, it's going to be a little bit more light of an event for me betting wise. Before we get into the main event, definitely like, subscribe, comment. Always appreciate those that are doing that, kicking up that algorithm a little bit here. So with that being said, let's dive into the main event of the evening between Peter Yan and Deiveson Figueiredo. Now we've got Yan here, big favorite, minus 300 on the comeback. You've got Deiveson about a plus 240 mark. Now you've got the former bantamweight champion in Peter Yan against the flyweight former champion in Figueiredo. Now, we do know, obviously, that Figueiredo came up in weight after 4 fights with Brandon Moreno. Classic rivalry between those two guys, but now he's come up. He has looked pretty good in certain spots here. 3 straight victories, going out there beating Rob Font, going out there beating Cody Garbrandt, and also Marlon Vera. So some nice wins for him overall. And one of the big things that did work well for him very much was utilizing the wrestling. Get the wrestling going, mix it in a little bit. Don't just stand and slug it out. He, smaller guy now, obviously coming up. He's not going to have that size advantage. He was kind of a size bully when he was in the flyweight division. He's not going to be that here, but he was able to get the takedowns and really mix it up. And I thought that was really key for him, why he got those victories out there. And he goes out there, out of those 3 victories, he goes out and gets 7 takedowns. Now, in this spot on Saturday, I don't think that's going to be available. I really think that Peter Yan is going to shut the door on the opportunities for the wrestling. And Peter Yan right now has an 85% takedown defense rate. I do think that's going to hold up. Now, not long ago, he fought Merab. And although Merab got 11 takedowns, he shot 49 takedowns to get the 11 takedowns. That is absurd. Just the fact that Merab is even able to fucking shoot 49 takedowns is almost absurd. But that's not something that Figueiredo is going to even be able to do. Looking for takedowns is one thing, but repetitively shooting is something he absolutely does not have the ability to do. And that's probably due to his cardio. We're also talking about a guy now that's now 37 years old. So there is some of that is going in there. But you look at it, Merab was 11 for 49 takedowns, smothered it up, but he's doing that to absolutely everybody. But I do like seeing that Peter Yan was able to defend and consistently defend at a certain point. Now, most recently, he goes out there and fights Song Yadong. Song Yadong, tough fighter overall, team alpha male guy, great striking, some good wrestling. And even Song was only able to secure 1 of 8 takedowns. Now, again, it's speaking more to the fact that Peter Yan should have the ability to kind of, keep this fight standing. I think his scrambling ability is very good. His footwork is really good from the outside. He can create space. And I think those are some of the things that can work for him in this particular spot, where Deiveson Figueiredo on the other side here, 35% takedown success rate, not the greatest. And again, I think the issue here for him is that he can't shoot repetitive takedowns, because I don't think he can fuel the endless takedowns that he's going to need in order to go out there and just keep Yan on the ground or just consistently wrestle. Now, this is going to be 5 rounds, and I think that also heavily plays into Peter Yan here, where I think early on, we know what he does here. He takes his time, he downloads information, he really kind of, picks up some tells, and then he kind of starts to pick it up through the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round and so on, however long it goes. And that's something that I think that his cardio is going to help here, where he's going to have the cardio to kind of last. And I think that early Figueiredo can land some shots, but I do think that as this fight goes on and as the possible, cardio could start to tilt down for Figueiredo, I do think that that's where Jan is really going to find a lot of success. But, striking wise, I think the pressure striking of Peter Yan is going to be there. I think he's going to be able to push forward. I think he's going to be able to land some big shots and really dictate the pace. And a lot of times Peter Yan is kind of the smaller guy normally in these fights here, where, he's fighting the bigger framed guy. And in this spot, he's going to have some of that physicality. He probably will be the sizable bigger guy here, where I think he's going to be able to kind of, again, help defend the takedowns, land the heavier, more damaging shots. I think his boxing is absolutely fantastic. I think he's going to land those, in the pocket, stance switching, landing the shots overall. And I think all that is backed by good cardio and better combinations. So in this spot here, I do like Peter Yan, but I think this is a spot where Figueiredo can last. I think that he's early. I think it's going to be slow to some degree, maybe that first, second round. But again, as Yan goes on, I think he really starts to pick it up, land the big shots. And I think Figueiredo can do enough to just survive. And in the end, I do think that Jan is going to really have a one-sided decision here. So I'm going via points here. We're getting off the minus 300. We've got Peter Yan plus 120 via points. I like the spot, and that's where we're going to go for the first play. Peter Yan via points. Now, the next one here we're going to be talking about is going to be Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. Now we've got Yan. She is minus 205. The comeback here on Tabitha Ricci is plus 170. Now, looking at this fight here, now you've got Yan, who the first thing here is that she's coming off a beating against Weili Zhang. Weili went out there and absolutely dominated in a title fight, biggest fight of Yan's career, to go up there and have an opportunity, to finally get that chance at the title. And when you look at it there, she was just pretty much beaten up from beginning to end of this 5-round fight. She was outlanded 106-43. Not great for Yan. She was bludgeoned a couple times on the ground. And you look at it there, 6 takedowns for Weili. On top of that, 12 minutes of control time. And that really does speak to really some issues that I think that Yan has. Now, obviously, we're talking about the current champion in Weili. I don't put Tabitha Ricci to that point, but I do think that there are somewhat of similarities as in a style or a path that they're looking to do. Not skill set, but a style or a path that they can possibly take in this spot here. And now that to me is really where you're looking at the path of least resistance for Ricci, and that's going to be the wrestling. And I think that that is something that she's going to be able to do. She's going to be able to push forward. And we have seen Yan, not just in the fight against Weili, but multiple times throughout in the UFC, where if there's a wrestler, there's somebody that's wrestler or a grappler that wants to take the fight to the ground, they do find success getting the fight to the ground and getting her and keeping her there. Whether they win or lose, there are opportunities for the wrestling. Now, against strikers, she looks comfortable. Yan will move forward. She's got nice striking. She's got good combinations. She does, can, piece together some nice combinations and some hand speed over there. But in general, it's once she's a little bit out of rhythm here against some of these wrestlers, I think that's where these fights get closer for her, or she loses. And now you go against Carla Esparza. Now, Esparza, obviously, I do think she's a better wrestler than Ricci. But at that time, you have Esparza, who was getting older at that point. She was 3 for 3 on takedowns, beat the hell out of Yan on the ground, dominated her with ground and pound, bloodied her up and got the finish. Mackenzie Dern picked up 2 takedowns against Yan. Not great when you've got Dern, who only has a 16% takedown success rate, and she was able to find at least 2 takedowns. And then obviously Weili goes out there, gets 6 takedowns, and not only just the takedowns, but once that Yan's on her back, she does look like a fish out of water. I mean, she looks very one-dimensional. She doesn't look like she's able to really find opportunity to scramble, make her, play it safe, or look for an opportunity, any kind of get-up game. I don't really see that from her, and I do think that, again, is where a path that Ricci can find success and find opportunities. And then you also have the fact that, Ricci, when she's out there, her pressure style overall is, I think, very judge friendly. I don't think it's just her ass. I think it's the fact that she's judge friendly. She will push forward. She will look to throw some shots. She will mix it up a little bit there. Now her boxing is getting a little bit better, but I do think the fact that she just comes forward and she just throws is optically sometimes just enough to have the opponent on their back foot. She'll bulldoze forward. She'll throw volume. She can weaponize her cardio pretty well too, because she just is relentless with pushing forward. Now her striking, I think, is getting better. I also don't think that it's, something that's going to knock somebody out or really hurt anybody, but I do think that she can go out there and land a shot or land a bunch of shots and then cage push. And I think that's where she finds success too, where she's willing to go forward, willing to bulldoze forward. And then once she has a cage, she can look for takedowns. She can look to start to level change, or even work the dirty boxing, or even just control against a cage and dirty box. And I think that is where she can find some success overall. I think the takedown threat just in general for Yan is going to also, again, make her a little timid in the pocket. And I think at 35 now, for Yan, it starts to also make things at these weight classes in the women's division. It could definitely start to tilt down when you're talking about skill set or everything else that goes with it can start to decrease. I think that can help Tabitha Ricci in this spot. So for me in this spot here, I got to go Tabitha Ricci. I think the value is there. This is a spot here where I don't even mind. On DraftKings, they have Tabitha Ricci plus 3.5 on the scorecards. That's at minus 165, a little higher than I was hoping it would be. But I do think that that's actually a spot too where you're looking to try to buy some points on the judges' scorecard, because I think this is one of those ones going to the decision. I think that, we've seen some decisions go her way that were very close. And I think that, again, this is a spot. This is a girl that they want to build up. So I like Ricci. I like Ricci by the points also. That's plus 3.5 at minus 165. We got to go Tabitha Ricci. Next one here we're going to be talking about is going to be, actually, no, we're going to talk about this one first. We'll go to that next. Next we're going to talk about is Carlos Ulberg, minus 265 against Volkan Oezdemir, plus 200. Now, in the spot here, we've got two kickboxers who have a lot of power. Now, you got Ulberg here, who's on a 6-fight winning streak, has looked good, 5 finishes over that span. Now, as impressive as that is, the opposition that he's faced is not impressive. When you look at this fight here, in these couple of fights here that he's had, Alonzo Menafield is just an absolute powerhouse of a man, but limited striking ability. And in their fight, lasted 12 seconds. He ran across the ring, ran into the fist of Ulberg, and gets knocked out. So kind of a weird situation there. A 37-years old Menafield. I just think the guy's done. But you also go to the next fights he's had prior, and Da Woon Jung, beats him. Da Woon Jung's on an 0-4 run in the UFC. Ira Pretoria, 1-4 run in the UFC, and then he also beat Tafan the Don, and the Don is out of here. He had a 1-4 run in the UFC and is fighting on some low-level organization. So these are the guys that Ulberg has faced. And now this is a big step up in competition level. And now he's, you're looking at him nearly a 3-1 favorite, 2.5 to 1 favorite. I think that is skewing it way too much. Now, with that being said, stylistically, it's not that Ulberg is shit by any means. I think the guy has got good striking. He's got good distance management. We know about his kickboxing game. We know about all that. Footwork is good, all those things. Now, on the other side with Volkan, Volkan has got pressure, he's got power, and he's got leg kicks. And I think that mix actually is going to make things very difficult here for Ulberg. Carlos needs to have space. He's a guy that wants space to work. He wants to utilize that kickboxing, wants to have some range game. And, in tight, I think that's where Volkan can land big shots, where if he can get inside the kicks. Now, obviously easier said than done, because we know that, Ulberg, again, high-level kickboxer, does have some power. But I just think Volkan, who has faced high-level guys consistently throughout his career, this is nothing that new to him. And this is, not a step up for him at all. I mean, you look at some of the guys that even Volkan has faced. Oezdemir's faced, Magomed Ankalaev, who's going to fight for a title soon. Yuri Prochazka was a former champ, and obviously we know what Yuri is. Johnny Walker, Nikita Krylov, Rakic. I mean, even DC way back in the day. So he has faced high-level guys overall. And it's not like he's some aged-out guy. Volkan's 35. Ulberg is 33. And even with that, you know, it's not even Ulberg has been pushing to fight these higher level guys as he's kind of coming up in the UFC. He's 33 now, you know, he's really fought nobody. And he comes from a great camp, and we know about, you know, City Kickboxing and all those guys there. But in general, to me, it's not the greatest showing overall. And I think stylistically, he can push forward, Volkan can. He can look to box. He can chop at the legs a little bit, mix it up. And I think that the pressure style is going to be difficult for Ulberg, who's going to be on his back foot. I think he's going to be smothering the kicker here. I think Volkan knows I'm not going to stand at range, stand at kickboxing range for 3 rounds, let this guy pick me apart. Although Volkan does have good kickboxing. Also, he's very defensively sound. He's durable as well. Not easy guy to put away. So this is the spot I think he's going to force the boxing range, allow those big shots to land. And I like Volkan here. This is another spot where I got to take the plus money here. I think Volkan has the ability to get the knockout, get the finish, or at least just be able to land the bigger, more damaging shots over the 3 rounds. So at plus 200, I do believe Ulberg should be a favorite here, but I would put this at more of a minus 120, minus 125 than I would, minus 265 and climbing at this point here. This line might get wider, who knows? But I do like Volkan Oezdemir plus 200. Now, the last one here we're going to be doing here, I gave a little tease on what it'd be. And the tease is Muslim Salikhov versus Kenan. Now, in this fight here, for me, this feels like an absolutely easy fade spot on Muslim Salikhov. Yes, I'm looking at plus money here again. This is a spot where, you know, Muslim is 40 years old. I mean, I'm not going to dive into this one too much here, but Muslim is 40 years old. I think he appears to be slower and slower as his career progresses. Not long ago, I would say about 3 years ago, you know, after one of his losses, I was like, this guy's done. You know, Muslim it's over for this guy. And he squeaks out a victory over Ponzinibbio, which split decision. I would probably argue that Muslim lost the fight, but either way, he gets it. And this is a spot here where I just think that the combinations are slower. He has these one-off kicks, and yes, he's got some spinning arsenal of attacks, but I think a lot of that stuff is just kind of fluff. Yes, he has landed some crazy stuff in the past, but I think at this point it's more just, whoa, look, he did like a wheel kick. You know, a lot of these things aren't landing. The opponent sees it from far away. Plus, I think that not only does Muslim have some shit cardio, but also he's very not economical with it. He will not, be very pacing. He will go out there. He's going to push forward. He's going to throw a lot of big shots. And I don't think that really works out well for him as this fight progresses. Now, Song on the other side here, I think he mixes it up a lot better. He's going to be 6 years younger. Not only that, but he's going to be the physically bigger guy and be 6 years younger. And I think that he's going to have the ability to push forward again. This is another spot where I kind of lean towards the fact that I think Song has slick striking overall. I think he can land the shots in tight. I am very down on Muslim at this point here. And also, I do like what Kenan did against Ian Gary. You know, as far long ago as that felt, you know, he clipped Ian, dropped him. There was a moment there of like, holy shit, is he going to finish him? But I do like that at least he has some of that. There has been some high spots here for him here. And at 34 years old, I do like him. I got to go the plus money here. I cannot see paying 2-1 on Muslim Salikhov at this point in the year of our Lord 2024. So in that spot, we're going to have to go Kenan plus 155. So there you have it for UFC Macau. If you want to become a client, link down in the description. Again, like, comment, subscribe, appreciate all of that. We got 3 events left in 2024. Let's cash.